When it comes to solid finish guitars from any manufacturer, have you ever wondered what are they hiding underneath there? Today, we're going to find out. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. So obviously, the solid colored guitars generally don't get as nice of tops. Or at least that's what we can guess, because when a finish is transparent, you can see everything, from the wood quality to how many pieces the guitar has been crafted out of. So when you buy, say, the 60s Les Paul Standard, you know it's gonna at least have a decent two-piece flame maple top on it. But if you've ever wondered what hides underneath a modern-day solid finish, I've got one for you today. So I was searching Reverb and this thing shows up. Gibson Les Paul Jr. One-Off Natural, Dog Ear P90, USA American 90309. Okay, so that got me excited. A custom One-Off Natural Jr.? But then I looked at it and, oh. I love it. Are we back to the Norlin era when you could potentially find 5 to 7 piece bodies and tops? So I decided to scroll through these photos because I was just absolutely flabbergasted. I fell in love with this thing. Sure, it's just a bunch of plywood, many different stripes of mahogany, from the really grainy kind to the nice circular ones that I like to the ones I'm not as big of a fan of because they're so light in color and so heavily grained. I like it when it's got a little bit more character, like this piece and that. But if you can't make up your mind, you get something like this. It's just got all the flavors. It's like a Neapolitan Les Paul. That's what I would call this thing. So it was just so beautiful, and as a one-off custom, are we sure about that? I wasn't quite convinced. So then we flip over to the back, you can see additional ringage back here. This is just interesting. It looks like a homemade guitar at this point. But it has been upgraded to an intonatable wrap tailpiece that doesn't appear to have been intonated correctly. Or if it is intonated correctly, there's something wrong with this guitar. But it's just a Les Paul Jr. You've got one P90 here, they still had the pick guard. And you've got the golden knobs that are the speed knobs. There's no maple cap to hide all these pieces, but they could have put like a mahogany veneer over top of it. But then we move on to the headstock, everything's looking normal, but then on the back, that's when it's like, oh, no, this did not start life as a one-off natural custom. So I immediately went from there to read the description to see if they're actually advertising it like that. And no, they say that it has been refinished. So my question for the shop is, why are you putting one-off natural in your title? Because that implies it's a one-off custom order, which this clearly isn't. Our serial number tells us right here, this started life as a white Les Paul Jr., which is a darn shame that somebody took the finish off a white one. Those are pretty rare. Oh man, what year was this? Did this start life as a Billy Joe? 2009. Uh-oh. That is a year. It doesn't have the same knobs. And since we're missing the case, it's kind of hard to tell just by photos. I mean, the headstock was styled a bit differently. It had different tuners. I mean, it's possible somebody swapped out the tuners on this one and changed our truss rod cover, but no, it can't be. Those ones had an ink stamp serial number. See, I was thinking that it was just the Billy Joe signature that might have got wiped off. You can check out my review and demo if you want to learn more about those. I've done every iteration, except for the Double Cut Junior. So, okay, thankfully it did not start life as that. But I don't think I've actually ran into a white Junior from 2009. And according to recent Reverb sales, doesn't look like anything. But here we go. 2009 Faded series. Okay. That looks fantastic. So this is what this guitar started life as, 100%. The Faded series was an affordable range of guitars that just had a satin finish, so it doesn't surprise me that this had a 5-piece body underneath it, but this was birthed during the Henry J era, and they weren't expecting you to see the multiple pieces. But the reason why the serial number is still white is because there's no way to really get that out without risking damaging your serial number, or it's just a little bit more labor intensive to do, and there's not much benefit unless you're trying to trick someone. But they're wanting $1,150 plus $45 shipping for this. That seems kind of high for a plywood guitar. I mean, it's got some character. But it started life as one of the Faded, so it doesn't really line up to the same price as like an original collection one. I mean, here's a 2015 that's got the gloss finish that they only want about $1,100 on. Now, the custom shop versions, don't worry about that. And the Billy Joes do sell for a premium, but those are like, think Les Paul Classic back in the classic era when they were like reissues. That's what the Billy Joe Juniors are like. They're like faux custom shops. They're really nice guitars. But then again, I can't find any of those faded series ones currently offered for sale, so it's hard to compare what the market would pay. But a brand new one of these built to more historic specs with the full-on gloss finish, they're what, $14.99 brand new? So this one, I would expect it to really fall around $900, but they are a dealer, so that seems to fall within dealer pricing. So if you like the multi-piece body, there's something out there for you. But speaking of wood grain, check this thing out. I've been talking about E2 Explorers quite a bit, but mainly the CMT versions that get the flame maple top. But this is one of the ones that does not have that. It's the regular E2, but it's got the walnut top. So there were two options with these guys. You can have the walnut top or the maple top, because these were crafted with different woods. You can really see it on the back here. So they have a sandwich of walnut here and then a maple stripe, and then they put another walnut on. So they just kind of carved these to give them that interesting look. They did the same thing with the neck, a walnut maple walnut neck. But they also offered these in the opposite iteration. So you've got the maple on the back and the top, and then the walnut in the center. The walnut ones were the most popular back in the day. And this one is just fantastically beautiful. And when I saw the price, $6,000. Ah, that's expensive, but it looks so clean. I wanted to buy it because if I'm going to review an E2, I want it to be the most beautiful thing ever. And that is such an awesome strap that matches perfectly with this. So I started to go through on this thinking, should I actually pay so much for this guitar? I mean, it's not actually worth it. But then I got to this photo and it just stopped me in my tracks. Ebony fretboard with block inlays. What? That's not how these things came. I mean, I wish they came like that, but they had uncovered pickups. They had the dot inlays. There was no binding. Some of them ended up getting Kahlers. And just looking at all these different iterations on Google, I mean, you can see not all of these look as good as the one we're looking at today. So then I started to get really excited. Was this a custom order? If so, yes, I'm gonna buy it because that's well worth it if it was custom ordered like that. It got my collector senses tingling, but then I saw this. If you've watched my show, I've told you guys, if you see a giant height adjustment screw, that's a Bill Lawrence, the original pickup, produced from very late 1987 until 1990. So that told me, yeah, something's up here. That's definitely been replaced. So that made me think, all right, somebody's replaced the fretboard or seriously modified it, which kind of made me sad because this was a beautiful example, but somebody has decided to upgrade the cosmetic attributes of it. It is a cool guitar, but to pay a premium for something that's been butchered in a collector's eyes, I just don't see it. But this one dates to 1980, looks like maybe the 118th day? I can't quite see that. But you'll get to see it because I'm zooming it in while I'm editing. And it is a Kalamazoo build. I like the way they do this. The Explorer headstock has a wing up here, so that's what cuts this off from the neck. So you don't have the maple stripe going all the way through it. But when looking up E2s, it appears that this thing has been for sale before, back in early January, by this Guitar Sauce place. And these photos, I think, are a little bit more accurate to the true condition of this. I really like their cave that they got going on here that they take their photos in. I mean, the frets actually look pretty worn in this photo, so maybe they had that addressed, I'm not sure. But the headstock, it's got a lot of finish checking on that Gibson logo. That could turn some buyers off. And you can't really see that in this one. I mean, are there actually two of these out there? Ooh. Because, like, I don't remember seeing that on the other one either. Is it a small run that we don't know about? Is it not really? So hard to see the serial number. It looks like it ends in 66. Okay, this one says 63. That's close enough. I'm going to go ahead and say it's the same guitar. The next thing we can do is look at wood grain. So we've got a couple of mountains here and then a valley. Couple of mountains and a valley. Yeah, that's 100% the same guitar. I feel like things like that should be immediately expressed in the description and shown deliberately, because it's things like that. I like a clean headstock. I don't care so much about nicks and dings on the back, but the face of the guitar and the face of the headstock are very important to me. So my advice to this seller, maybe take a better photo. That way you don't get a return after somebody purchases it. But this one is for sale over in Italy. But now on the opposite side of the spectrum, let's cover that wood back up and take a look at a cool custom color. So this one was listed by Lakeshore Guitars in Troy, Michigan. I always like their backdrop for their photos. It really brings the guitars out. Unfortunately, not so much on this one. I think it actually steals the show a bit too much, but hey, check out this SG. It is a custom ordered one-off, meaning it was just custom ordered by someone. Gibson will still use this finish for you. It wasn't exclusive, but it was just a one of one for that particular order, at least according to them. But it was done in 2021 and it is being listed as used, but it's like a really nice sapphire candy apple blue. It looks like they even aged the knobs like this. This is nice. Like, I would like to see a legitimate Les Paul custom done up in this finish, because you can tell this is going to be metallic, a really nice dark blue. But these photos, all the lighting is always in the dark area, so we can't quite appreciate the true beauty of this one. But I'm sure if this seller were to take it outside and like show us a nice video of it, it would just absolutely come to life. Like, I would almost like a little bit of sparkle in here. That'd be cool. Or, oh, like maybe even go as far as putting an abalone Gibson logo in here, as well as the custom emblem and the blocks on the fretboard. That might go okay with this finish. But there's nothing wrong with the standard mother of pearl either. And I think that's just dust, not actual sparkles. But it's just labeled as an SG custom. Looks pretty cool in that yellow case as well. And the fact that it's an SG custom is kind of cool. So you got the custom neck, but more of a standard body here. I mean, you've got the multi-ply pickguard, but generally SG customs, they like to have that third pickup. Sometimes they look nice with the vibrola units, but this one, it's just very basic. Kind of reminds me of a late 80s SG Elite, except for we don't have a coil splitter switch. But I did want to share this beauty with you guys. And one last one for us today, we've got another Harp lady. That episode did pretty good when we featured a green one, but this time we've got like a smoldering sunburst. So it's got like a reddish orange burst here with the abalone that I was just talking about. The difference between abalone mother of pearl is it has more figuring, more color to it, whereas the mother of pearl is generally more pure looking. That's what you've got for the Grover Imperial tuner tips. But then, just like that last one, they went for a really pinstriped top. Now, I've got to say, I think this one looks better because it's got a very dark burst. Like, it gets rid of the edges of the guitar. It's a nice dark orangish red. It matches really well with that gold hardware, and the back, the natural back and sides, once again, it complements this color. I mean, the green, it looked good. It had a nice forest vibe to it, but I think more people would be open to loving this one. And of course, we get the Harp Lady inlay. Again, not my favorite one, but a couple of commenters really fell in love with this. Maybe they'll make their own custom orders. Who knows? You know, I've talked about these Gibson art guitars enough. I think I need to get one of these. I just know the waiting list is a long time for these really high-end Gibson Crimson Division guitars. But it would be cool to experience one of these up close in person. But the other one was an exclamation mark. This one, it's a comma. You can have a whole punctuation series of Gibson Les Paul art guitars. I think what this one needs, though, is a stinger on the back. That would look cool. All right, troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.